on the second season premiere of the Third Gallon Podcast.
There, the snow never bothered me anyway.
Oh, you...
No.
In a world filled with chaos and danger.
Everything sucks. Everybody's horrible. Let's do this.
A band of adventurers come together to take on a simple job.
You are here to solve one problem that I have no desire to solve for myself. For this, you'll be paid 50 bicent.
That might not be so simple, after all.
It can jump up and bite a man and swallow him whole in one gulp, I tell you.
Season 2 begins.
You are the least choicest nug.
Now.
Battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. For if you gaze into the abyss gazes back into you. Friedrich Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil. I consider gazing into the abyss utter foolishness. There are many things in the world much more worth gazing into. Dandelion, half a century of poetry. I have been waiting for this moment right here.
For 300 years.
For a very long time.
It's been
300
so long.
years specifically.
I've been waiting to play this game for over 3 years, actually.
You've been waiting for a while.
Yeah.
You've been waiting so long that in the since you started waiting, you built a Witcher in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought this game. It came out in 2018. I bought it as soon as I could buy it. I don't know if they did like a funding Kickstarter kind of thing or not, but I bought it as soon as the book was available in 2018. My book is so old that it's kind of half useless because it's the first printing and so much errata has come out. I actually just bought, this will date the episode a little bit, a third printing book because they just came out. And it's nice to have everything in it. But I was so stoked about it, I basically wrote an entire Witcher class for Pathfinder First Edition, still available at wizardlevels.com, by the way. I'm a big Witcher fan, as many of these people at this table know. But before we get in to all the witchery goodness, welcome to Season 2, everybody.
Yay!
It's kind of crazy to believe we've actually made it to Season 2.
I know, right?
I thought we were going to die before now.
I didn't know if we were going to make it through the first season or not.
Yeah, we did. We put out a complete first season with a meta episode, done and dusted.
How meta?
For those of you who are just tuning in and aren't put off yet.
Hey, you remember how Jacob said that he thought he was going to die?
Yeah, I know.
I'm about to go kill him.
Very fun.
Very fun.
Would like to introduce you, if you've never listened to us, if you're just now tuning in to our 2-bit show, welcome to the Third Gallon Podcast. This is a show. We started it to play all the stupid games that we buy.
All the great games.
And never end up playing. You buy it because you look at it and it looks amazing, and you put it on your shelf and it sits there for 300 years.
But not because of bad game, just because we're addicted to Pathfinder.
Reiterate. It is not a stupid game. It was a stupid purchase because of all the other games on your
Uncalled
shelf.
for.
It's not true.
It is better than calling the games.
They are
Derek
collector's
and Jacob
items.
have this habit of collecting things like games that they're not going to use.
You should look at their Steam library.
Don't go there.
Hold on.
Low blow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, this podcast is a direct result of trying to actually play the games they never thought they'd get to do.
Then it's a good thing
I'm
we bought them.
surprised that you haven't done something like that to your Steam lists. This is
They
insane.
did, though. Do
We
you
actually
remember
did.
playing through alphabetically?
The alphabetical playthrough.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, because Jacob
We
showed
only
me
got to
one,
the letter B.
and it pained him so much to play that game.
Well, if you're new to the show, why don't we go around the table real quick and introduce ourselves again.
I'm not new to the show.
Shut up. I'm Derek. I'm the GM. I run the games. I do a little too much work, especially for this season because I'm into it. And I've also kind of put the show together on the back end a little bit. Let's go around the table. Drow, do you want to talk about yourself? You look like you're in pain.
I am in so much pain.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Drow. I am a they, them, and I am seconds from revealing my villain backstory and just slaughtering the entire room.
Hi,
Hey, I didn't do anything.
I'm Jacob. I think I am seconds away from being slaughtered, and I will not stop.
You know what? I can appreciate that. You've really done a lot to help my character develop. Is it a good thing? That's still to be determined.
Oh, it's a great thing.
Well, then I guess I'll continue this. I'm Kat, and as my description on the website says, I am rightfully disappointed in all of you.
Hey! It was apt when I wrote it. It's still apt today.
I love it. I don't know why, but I do. It just perfectly describes it for me.
Well, now we've introduced ourselves to any of the new listeners here.
They're new.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's what that was about.
Can I throw something at Jacob, please?
I'm on a roll.
Just write it down on your sticky notes and unload after the
I'm going to
episode
serve you on a roll.
Season 2 started, everybody. Yeah.
I also want to talk about all of our background with the subject matter we're going to be playing with. As I said before, I'm probably the most Witcher obsessed person here, I would say, probably by a good bit. I got into the Witcher franchise by playing The Witcher 3, which is not uncommon. That's an excellent video game, and I loved it so much that I bought the role-playing game, and then I wrote a Pathfinder first edition supplement.
Which is phenomenal, and it also has Hero Lab compatibility.
Yep, not to toot my
Hero
own
Lab
very
horn.
proud of that.
Hero Lab
Rightfully
Classic,
so.
the right one.
Rightfully so.
Wizardlevels.com. And then after that, before the Netflix show came out in 2019, Drow and I actually both listened to the first two short story collections of the Witcher books on audiobook form.
Phenomenal book.
They were great. I've also seen the 2 seasons. I think I haven't finished the last episode of season 2 because I pace it day by day. I've seen the Witcher Netflix season, and I've also watched the Nightmare of the Wolf thing. The only thing I really haven't done is played the Witcher 1 and 2 games. I think I've started the Witcher 1 at least once and never finished it. They're a little harder for me to get into these days, but I was a good boy and recapped the entire story and all the decision trees that you can make in them to kind of get prepped for this game.
You say you've consumed most of the media around The Witcher.
Yes.
Have you played the Gwent game?
Yes. I'm just not a really big card game person. I played it in The Witcher 3.
No, I mean the Gwent game.
I know. The one in The Witcher 3 got me a lot more than the actual Gwent card game. Mm-hmm. I played through, I think, the tutorial, and I was just on it. I'm just not a big card game person. Although, friend of the show, obviously first time mentioning him, Micah loves card games, and I've been trying to bully him into playing it. But he's stuck on Magic after telling me, I don't think I want to do Magic. I'm a hipster, and I like things that aren't popular. I'm going to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A month
I can
later,
so identify with that.
he started playing Magic.
As if Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't popular.
I know.
I can identify with the inner hipster thing, not the Yu-Gi-Oh thing.
The thing about Micah is he thinks he isn't a hipster, but he really deeply is, and unavoidably so. Anyway, that's my Witcher experience and Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience with Micah. Drow.
And brief Micah slander.
Yes.
I used to follow the person who did the art for Gwent on Tumblr back in its heyday.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
I really liked seeing the process stuff that they uploaded. I don't think that they upload anymore there, which is understandable because Tumblr is dying. And that makes me big sad.
That's your only experience with the Witcher franchise?
No, I love Gerald. And Sally.
And Citrus.
And Jennifer. I think that Tina is great.
And Papadale. Daffodil. Papadale?
Can you shut up?
Papadale?
That's going to be my new character's name.
What?
Hang on, I'm going to write that down.
Oh my God.
I actually cried a little bit.
Well, if that's all you got to say, Jacob.
Christ.
I have played the beginning of The Witcher 2, enough to get the gist of the first bit of the story. Then I stopped for reasons, whatever they were.
Was it because you tried to hire a whore?
No, I didn't make it to a town. I got out of jail, but that's about it. Then I played Witcher 3. I beat the main one in that, did not get to the DLC, and I've read the first book of short stories. I feel like there's a bit more. I also just like I've went down trees of cruising the wiki.
Yeah.
So like I got a good gist of what's going on.
From what I hear, Blood and Wine is a very fun DLC.
Oh, I look forward to playing it, but at that point I had played Witcher for over 100 hours and I need to take a break from
And
it.
it was like all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have the least Witcher experience in the group. I was a little bit scared when it's like, hey, let's all play The Witcher, because I was under the impression that was like just fantasy porn. Like that's what people make it sound like in my school of people.
Yeah.
And so I picked up the first audiobook with great trepidation. And then
The first page didn't help.
No.
Oh no, the first page did not help.
I think I gave you a warning about it.
And once I got past the first bit, I was like, oh wait, this is an actual story with real characters and they have real conflicts. And I kind of started to like it.
Yeah.
I've completely forgotten what the first page was.
It basically starts out with a smexy scene between him and a temple priestess.
Smexy.
The Voice of Reason, Part 1.
Yeah. I got past the first little part and I was like, oh, it's a story.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done much
story.
reading in a long time and I really enjoyed it.
And it
I
opens
found
up
the
with
characters really fascinating.
We read the
We read The Witcher for the plot.
there we go.
The Plitcher.
The Plitcher for the lot. I'm done. You know what? You could do episode 1 without me.
Please, me too.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it when we were going around, but I didn't just read the short story books. I went through all of them in preparation for this. I know this season when it's coming out is like looks like it's trying to capitalize on The Witcher season 2 on Netflix hype train, but like I started working on this for
We liked
season
it before
2
it was cool.
in like July.
We're all it.
I finished-
Except for me, because I got on after it got cool.
I finished all the novels in like end of November. Like I crushed through this content because I love it so much. But yeah, that's enough about us and our quick background with the franchise. I hope I edit that down because that was a lot of tangent. Thank you, Jacob, very much.
I don't control the tangent.
But like,
Tangent, control him.
Control this cosine.
shut up. The main thing I want everyone coming into this season to take away is that no matter if you've come from the Netflix show, the games, the books, even if you've never even consumed any Witcher content at all, we're hoping to make this show something accessible to you. We want to like show you the Witcher world and what it's like to do a role-playing game in it. And also like, you know, as it comes up, talk about stuff that happens there. This world is very, very deep with lore and interesting stories. And we want everything we do to maybe kind of feel a little witchery. I can't guarantee it. I do play with a group of absolute chuckle fucks when it comes to
I
storytelling.
take great offense to that.
I resemble that remark.
You are that remark. But, you know, we hope that this show is something interesting for all of you. And if you've never consumed any Witcher content and you think this is super cool, you know, maybe start listening to the books, check out the show if that's your thing, play the games, who knows, or pick up this game. But speaking of this game, the Witcher RPG is developed by R. Talsorian Games, famous for Cyberpunk 2020. This is an officially like licensed, I think, CD Projekt Red thing, and it's really good. This game is amazing. It has a ton of love poured into it for the franchise and everything. It's going to be a lot more complicated than Forbidden Lands was if you're coming from our first season.
Sniff.
One is a little bit more rules light. I wouldn't call it a completely rules light game, but
Compared to this,
it absolutely is. Now, this isn't completely like a Shadowrun kind of game either. Like, there's more complicated games out there than this one for sure. But like, there's a lot of rules in this, and we're going to go from trying to roll less, you know, only when it matters, to this is a little bit more like what you'd expect in D&D, where you roll more often. But like the combat is going to be very chunky, and I don't say that in a way that to make you scared. Like it's kind of fun how nitty gritty it gets. That's like the point of this game. I think it uses the name for it is the interlock system.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if that's the exact name or not, but it's D10 based. So if you're coming from a Pathfinder, D&D, other D20 based role-playing game, this will feel very familiar, except you're using D10s instead of D20s. It's definitely got some nuance to it. It feels very swingy at times in a fun way. It's very deadly. If you're familiar with Cyberpunk Red or Cyberpunk 2020, those role-playing games by R. Talsorian, the mechanics here are going to be similar to that, but obviously more medieval fantasy. But yeah, that's the system. A brief overview for those who may not know about the Witcher world before we get in.
Here, I got this. Everything sucks. Everybody's horrible. Let's do this.
You're right.
Nobody
To
is
go
nice.
a little bit in depth.
Except from me.
Yeah, that's fair. Kind of a super brief history. There was this thing a long time ago called the conjunction of the spheres, where a lot of like worlds or dimensions collided, and humans and monsters are technically not all native to this world that you're in. And what are witchers? Witchers are these monster hunter people that have been like specially trained and mutated to go protect people and fight these monsters. And the setting here is going to be in like the northern part of, quote, the continent, which is basically the name for the landmass that the world of The Witcher takes place on. You've got these northern kingdoms. We don't need to get all into the geopolitics of it because I could be here for hours talking about that. The main thing to know is there's a big war going on when this game is set. This is set between The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3. The northern kingdoms are fighting this big empire to the south called Nilfgaard, and that's basically it. This is kind of a low fantasy, mid to low magic game, I would say. I feel like that's fairly apt. It feels a lot more...
Or the world is.
Yes, yes. As we play, it may not feel exactly, but that's the way the world is set up. The setting is a lot more like typically medieval European than some other fantasy settings are. A lot more parallels between medieval Europe and the way this is set up because the author, I believe, is a pretty big history guy in addition to being a writer. And yeah, that's the kind of setup going in. With all that being said, we finally made it through my intro bit 20 minutes later as of recording. I hope it's not like that for you guys after editing. Are you guys ready to play? Yeah, you came all the way here. You don't want to play?
Nah, let's go get McDonald's.
Yeah.
I already
I
had
could go for some
McDonald's
Burger
today.
King.
Burger King.
Yes, I'm ready to play.
All right. Well, I'm going to read something that I'm going to read every time before we get ready to play because the prompt has become a little bit of a tradition here. Let's get into this. Long ago, the worlds collided in a cataclysm known as the conjunction of the spheres. Chaos filled the world as vampires, ghouls, trolls, humans, and other monsters poured into the world. The Witchers, mutated by magic and alchemy, were created by human mages to stem the tide. Hundreds of years later, monsters are rare, but evil remains. As war ravages the northern kingdoms, dangerous monsters lurk without and within, in the world of The Witcher. How's that do on the prompt, guys?
I like it.
I saw
It's
you
good.
laughing to yourself in the middle of it there, Jacob.
Just, I love the fact that you put humans with all the other monsters and other monsters.
It is on purpose.
Humans are monsters.
We can straight up be monsters.
Indeed.
Bark.
Bark.
So thankfully, as we set up our adventure for today, we're playing through the Book of Tales by R. Talsorian Games. They have this wonderful thing that they do where they give you a background to read aloud to set us all up.
Ooh.
Way up in the north, in the mountains of Kovir and Poviss, the wind whips whirls of powdered white as it blows across the snowdrifts that bank your neat, magically cleared path. Perched on a ridge above you is an imposing stone structure gleaming in the afternoon sun, which you know to be High Watch, home apparent to the High Mountain Society of Sorceresses. You know this because you've been summoned to solve a nebulous urgent matter by one of these sorceresses by the name of Louise von Adelaide. Judging by her note, she seemed rather upset, so tread lightly. So as you approach, why don't we take a look at the party of people coming up to High Watch, home of the High Mountain Society of Sorceresses. Drow, why don't you describe your character?
Perhaps not leading the way, but certainly looking as though they are confident as they approach, is a 6 foot tall, exceptionally pale elf. Long white hair, vibrant violet eyes, and they're probably dressed in full wintry clothes, but if you could peek at like their shoulders and across their hips, they have desaturated blue tattoos similar to the patterning on bone china.
Awesome. Beautiful. Jacob, who else is in this group?
Well, if you look at him, you see a fella of short stature. He's a dwarf by the name of Rofnug, Nug to his friends. He's wearing his cold weather gear, so he's bundled up, but he's got his armor on as well, helmet, a big old bunch of medium armor. You can use your imagination. You look at his head, if you see it, he's got shaved sides, but the hair in the middle is gathered together and braided, much like in the Viking style. I suppose in this game would be the Skellig style. Mm-hmm. He's got war paint on, noticeably. He's got a war paint of 2 cat eyes over his... I'm gonna leave the talking to the accent. He's got like war paint for cat eyes over his eyes. Yeah. And hanging around his neck is in the style of the Witcher medallions from the 3rd game. It is the head of a goat, but it's carved out of wood. It doesn't look nearly as good, and instead of like rubies or gems for the eyes, it's 2 stones that he's wedged in there.
Is it painted silver?
It is not. And then he's got like a sword on his back and a shield, and that's Nug.
Your turn, Kat.
So, and also in the group you see a human female, very tall, like built like a football player, but female. Like, women can have that big, buff, shouldery look too. And she has traveling winter clothes, but maybe not quite as heavily bundled as the others. Like perhaps she's not as bothered by the cold. No. Do not. Anyway.
I was just laughing.
She has short cropped hair, and she does wear an eye patch, and she carries a longsword and an assortment of crafting material items.
All right.
There might even be a few like sooty patches on some of her clothes even.
Big lady with the eye patch.
Yes.
So... Side note here, I'm very excited to play this because we're playing the Witcher RPG. We don't have a single Witcher character. And honestly, I think that's kind of fun.
You just wait till Nug dies.
I know. So, just for clarity, speaking of Nug, we have, what is your character's name, Drow?
Viverwin.
Viverwin? What is your character's name, Jacob?
His name is Hrothnog.
Nug to his friends.
Nug to his friends.
And what is your character's name, Kat?
Her name is Ineth.
All right. Well, you all start making your way across the cobblestone path up to this lodge. I've posted art for it in our Discord if you want to take a look.
It is beautiful. I love the low contrast right at the center of it, maybe just a little bit to the left where there's a lot of light.
Oh, it's gorgeous looking.
It really shows that the fact that there is snow all around, because whenever it's snowy out, everything is super bright.
This translates to audio very well.
I'm describing it.
I know, I'm just making a joke. We'll try to have art for this up in the video and also on social media. But for those listening, it's this stone lodge with a balcony on the 2nd floor. There's 2 big chimneys on either end of it. It's kind of like a cross between a stone mansion kind of and like a Viking hall, would you say?
Yeah. That sounds,
It's sturdy, but it's somewhat decorative.
Right.
It has the crossing beams at the apex of the roof, like a Viking house.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of like rounded structures to it too. So it looks like a cross between that and something out of like a very fancy Victorian home. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's kind of Art Deco.
A little bit, yeah. A little dwarven. So you
Maybe
go...
that's a good description for it.
You go up to the entrance and you see on the ground I don't know if you can see this in the artwork, but there's these tiny little glowing sigils in the stones.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll notice because it's snowing, not super heavily, but like the wind's whipping and the snow's coming down, but the path remains super cleared. And if you look down at it, you see these little magical runes engraved. Viv, or Vivervin, you would know this to be the sign of Ard engraved on the ground.
That must have taken
fire?
so long to do.
Ard is like wind or force.
It's the force blast from The Witcher.
Correct.
The sign.
It is a sign, yeah.
Boom.
It's a Witcher sign.
Well, it's also like a sign is something anyone with a little magical aptitude can do, but yeah, Witchers do use them. All right.
That's the only magic a Witcher can use.
Correct.
Or signs.
You have something to say, Jacob?
No, not right now.
Okay.
You and I can talk later.
All right. So as you come up, you walk across the cleared stone path up to it.
Are you going to take one?
No.
Okay.
Nug doesn't know what that would do.
You come up to the door and you knock, and you're greeted by the person who has summoned you, Louise von Adelaide. She is this blonde sorceress. She has like light gray blue eyes with blonde hair that hangs down over her shoulders. And she's dressed in a dark pink dress with puffed shoulders, and it's decorated with like shiny gold trimming and these like gold ribbon patterns. And she comes up to you guys and says, "Oh, you're on time, but only barely. Come in, warm yourselves. We'll discuss the matter at hand when you've had an hour to shake off your travels. You will be on your way again shortly, so it is unnecessary for you to unpack. Please avail yourselves of the washroom. Your boots go to my right. If you have neglected to pack slippers, you will find some for borrowing in the basket beneath the coat rack to my left. In the meantime, I have some other things to attend to. Make yourselves comfortable. Farewell. I'll be with you shortly." What do you guys do?
Are we supposed to have our own slippers? Do they not just wear their shoes indoors? This place is fancy.
Have you seen the floors?
Have I what?
Have you looked at the floors here?
Yeah, they're floors. They're meant to be walked on.
The wood would be ruined.
Well, then they should have used better materials for the floor.
Inef walks over to the slippers. Oh, so fancy.
I guess I'm not used to this stuff. He'll take off his boots and put on slippers. Ooh, but they do feel nice.
I have my own slippers.
I'm sure you do.
So you come inside, and to describe it, it's just as beautiful on the inside as it is without. I'm going to post again some more art. This book is full of art.
Give me all that art.
This is going to have some other people that you see in this room in it, including a picture of Louise von Adelaide.
Ooh, there's other people in this room, or is it just us right now?
She's the one that greeted you, but there's two other people here. So there's some artwork of the inside. Louise von Adelaide is the person in the middle. You see these other two people. Inside, it's like, yeah?
The one on the right, the leather jacket looks like it came straight out of Cyberpunk.
A little bit, yes. So as you enter, you see like a huge room, big enough to be a ballroom for a good number of people. But there's also like some tables set out in it right now, some little round tables with cushioned seats. And seated on a couple of these seats, there's two other sorceresses. And whenever you guys are done, like coming in out of the cold, taking off your shoes and everything, they'll come up and greet you. The two that come up, at least in the artwork, are the two on the outside. The one on the right side of the artwork, I'll describe her for audio form people. She says, "Hello, my name is Katrin Pierce. It's good to meet you." She has these brown eyes and hair wore in a loose bun. She has, again, that like dark blue leather looking overcoat with that high collar. And she noticed like she has a bunch of like different rings on her hand and everything. And she says, "It's good to meet you. My name is Katrin Pierce. Who all are you?"
My name's Rothnug. Nug to me friends. You can call me Nug if you'd like. This. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Okay.
You go first.
Rothnug is very uncomfortable here.
Okay.
Oh, so nice to meet ya. I'm Inef.
Oh, nice. Oh, you're going to, accent's going to kill me. I love it. It's lovely to meet you too, Ineth. And then you are?
Viverwin.
Viverwin. Okay. That's a nice, and she name. do I recognize you? Have you ever been to Aretusa, the magical school for sorceresses?
Viverwin raises a very elegant, well-manicured hand and taps the side of her nose, acknowledging it but not saying it aloud.
Oh, I see you haven't. Well, pleasure to make your acquaintance here at the High Mountain Society. All of us here are Aretusa graduates, and it's rare to come across another one.
It's a sorority.
Kinda.
This is a human, right?
Yes.
So Viverwin was probably at Aretusa before her time.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, because magic means they could be as old as you.
Yeah.
But you could have also, it's like you don't just go to Aretusa for a couple of years. Like you spend a long time there.
Yeah.
So you could have overlapped at some point in time.
Mm-hmm. Think we settled that Viverwin spent at least 20 years there?
Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled to meet you. We don't see many other sorceresses at all these days. We're trying to found this little society. As you know, it's not easy being a mage these days, to put it lightly. And we wanted to kind of recreate the camaraderie that we had at our time in Aretusa without all the high-minded politics that came with the Brotherhood or the Lodge. Would you be interested in joining the society?
It is definitely intriguing.
Oh, no pressure, but we would love to have the company, especially another graduate from Aretusa. My manners. I didn't introduce my friend here. This is Clarice de Claudine. She says, hello, my name's Clarice. I'm other member of the society up here. She's the person on the left side of the image. She has brown eyes, short, kind of auburn hair. She's wearing a short, slim-fitted, like faded indigo vest coat looking thing without sleeves. And it's got like turquoise trim on it.
Blue.
It's slate gray.
It's blue.
On my screen, it looks
gray.
indigo.
Blue.
It's slate.
She's the only one that doesn't make Ina feel entirely outclassed.
Yeah, she's a little bit more quiet here, but Ketrin speaks up again. She says, well, I assume you'll hear about something with that party Luis is planning. We're all very excited about it. It's going to be a big event for our society. We're hoping to, make a lot more friends and connections here. We have quite the guest lists of sorceresses.
Oh.
By the way, I know
Party.
you don't have to commit to joining the society by any means, but if you want to come to the party, you're more than welcome to come and bring a +1.
I wish I was able to take a picture. I was given the most excited / pleading look from
Nug
Jacob.
automatically assumes he is going to be the +1.
And Inef just stands back, trying not to get awkward because there's 3 of them, and that was 1 + 1 is 2 invites.
I know.
just standing there trying to be nice and not make a face.
Do you have, speaking of Ineth, do you have, I know you have like your gear with you, which includes, peek behind a screen, your Tinker's Forge. Do you have any sort of alchemy gear with you?
Yes, I actually do.
Okay. Unless you have something to say to Katrine, she did just invite you to the party. Viverwin.
Viverwin is still thinking.
Well, take your time. You don't have to make a commitment to that either. But
Episode 1, we've already
Yeah.
lost a party member.
we'd love to have you at the party. It's not for another week. I assume that's what Louise has called you for party business. That's what she's been obsessing over, Louise. But
Do I know Louise?
I don't know, Luis.
I might.
you maybe have heard of her, but you probably don't know her very well, if at
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, any other sorceress, especially Aretusa graduate, and she at that, you don't see many elves come from the school. At this point, Clarice, the short-haired one, notices some of your adventuring gear because you haven't set it down yet, and says to Ina, "Do you work at alchemy at all?"
Oh, I dabble, darling.
You dab? Oh, that's alchemy is kind of the thing that I do around here. It's my special thing.
Oh, how delightful. You must tell me about it.
Oh yeah,
That grin you make every time you talk with
You
the
have
accent,
to, or you can't do the
it
accent
just
properly.
looks like you're going to mess up Derek's accents and you're reveling in it.
You know you have to. If you don't maintain
No.
the grin, you lose the vocal posture.
I know. But still, you just got that grin staring.
Oh, yeah. This is just how you talk whenever you're doing this.
We call it Minnesota nice.
Oh my
It's the same thing as, oh, bless your heart.
No, it's more veiled than that. Southerners are outright insulting you of a compliment.
Yeah, for real.
Am I going to be a distraction with my voice?
No,
Nope,
you're
you're
This is
good.
delightful.
But she says, not everyone here is into alchemy, you know. So like, I don't know. It's good to see you. If you ever need anything alchemy wise while you're hanging out here, you know, just hit me up. Like, I don't know. My favorite thing is, you know, you're working on something new, experiment wise, and you singe your eyebrows a little bit with the energy too much, you know.
Oh, I know. I'm mostly following the healing parts of alchemy. I like it.
Okay. Well, I specialize in the more violent sides of alchemy for fun sometimes. So,
Oofta, so exciting.
No. That's Ope. Oofta is when something bad
Violence.
happens, right?
It's violence.
But that's okay. All right.
Jacob, don't you know the difference between Ope and Oofta?
I listened to the same video she did.
Ineth, I think that there is a lot that you could learn from this woman.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I can tell you from personal experience that you will find no greater master than another sorceress.
Just not me. Another
Nug.
sorceress.
The medallion around your necklace does nothing.
Oh.
He nods.
So you guys can make yourself comfortable, unless there's anything you want to.
Nug will approach the nicest looking one, not in clothing, but in personality. Probably the short-haired one. And he'll be like,
That'd be Clarice.
Clarice. He'll
Yeah.
be like, Clarice.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Nug. I introduced myself back there. I did it again. It doesn't matter. I've heard that some layman's people aren't necessarily gifted with magic, could learn to cast things like signs, kind of like the witchers do. Is there truth to this?
Well, I mean, magic is a hard skill to develop, and it requires a certain amount of just inborn talent to work with.
How does one tell if they've got talent?
Have you ever, like, I don't know, accidentally, you know, opened a door? It just felt like when you did it with your mind. You went to go light a candle and seen it was already lit. Stuff like that. Little magical mishaps kind of reveal a hidden talent.
Oh, he'll look a little bit crestfallen and be like, I can't say that I've done that.
Oh, well, this is awkward now.
Well, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's my fault for not being magical. It's my existence that's the problem.
The Witchers in specific are mutated and developed so that their magical abilities are enhanced.
He'll get that glint back into his eye. Do you know how they do this?
I mean, I
Or is this
haven't studied mutagens
secret?
very much.
Oh, okay.
And I imagine they're pretty guarded about what witches are left in the world are guarded about their mutagens and secrets.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. I won't waste any more of it. He'll walk away. He looks
Okay.
sad.
Viverwin is going to sidle up next to her.
He will bounce back very fast.
Oh,
He has a short attention span.
I see. Is he want to be a witcher of some sort?
I think that
Is this a career aspiration for him?
I think that he has an idolization for them, but I cannot say in particular if that is his goal.
You know, at a distance, I mistook him for a dwarven witcher with his little medallion. But then I noticed it was carved from wood and thought better of it.
I think that is the goal that he is going for. Sort of like whenever you get too close to a painting, you can see all the individual strokes.
Yeah.
If you look at him from a distance, I think that's what he's trying to portray.
You tilt your head and squint just the right way. He almost looks like one.
Uh-huh.
If
Have you ever
only-
seen a dwarven witcher?
If only Nug could hear this conversation, he'd start crying.
No, I mean, as you well know, witchers are little bit more of a rare sighting nowadays with monsters being less and less prevalent, so I'm hard-pressed to see even a normal Witcher, but let alone a dwarven one.
See, if Einef were with Rothnug right now, she'd tell him that he's a fine example. It's a lovely medallion. I'm sure you have more magic than you know.
Oh, he knows his medallion is wonderful.
So many interesting breeds are becoming rare sightings these days.
Yeah.
You and I included with how they hunt down magic.
I imagine you would know, especially with your people. They and she.
Is there like a appetizer spread out somewhere?
There's like
Their food.
some fruit and maybe like finger foods, nothing like super fancy.
Rothnug's going to grab a plate and load up.
Okay.
Is
As
it
your
all
wife.
fruit and
Way
vegetables,
more-
or is like any meat?
Way
or
more than is
No.
probably
Cheese.
appropriate.
Maybe some cheese.
Like piled.
Like some light cheese, but no like meat.
Like a brie.
Yeah. Like a brie.
Einef grabs some cheese on her plate.
You sit down, you sit around the fireplace, you have a snack. And after about maybe 30 minutes or so, Louise comes back down. And she comes up and she, you can tell that she's like, you never seen like a person that's in the mood of like, they're working on something and they're just from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Like mom's cleaning a house before family comes over.
Huh.
So she comes back down from upstairs. Like there's this big staircase at the end of the hall. And she comes back down from the upstairs and says, walks up to you guys and says, so let us get to the matter at hand. Our society is hosting a party for the most distinguished sorceresses, and it's only in 7 days. Everything must be perfect. And so my fellow members have trusted for me to plan it as such. You are here to solve one problem that I have no desire to solve for myself. To the north, there is an ice-cutting village named Vithost, or Withost, depending on how you want to pronounce the W, on the shores of Lake Tancred. I had paid for a block of natural ice to be delivered from its waters, and last night a boy, Olgar from the village, arrived at High Watch empty-handed, claiming that a four-legged monster of some sort had scared off the temporary workforce and made ice-cutting impossible. We've boarded him in the basement, guaranteeing his father will make good on the contract and provide no impediment to you. For this, you'll be paid 50 byzant, a fair sum to pay to kill a simple warg.
Yes. How's that translate to crowns?
I think that's 4 crowns per byzant, so that would
200?
be 200, yeah.
Only 200?
For a
It is just
warg.
for a warg.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I missed that. I thought we still didn't know what the monster was.
Yeah. She said, claiming that a 4-legged monster had scared off the temporary workforce. And then she said, 50 byzant should be enough for a warg. Do this within 7 days, and you'll receive your payment. Arrive late, and there's no payment for you. It's a mere day's journey to the village by foot. The boy was carrying a map, although it looks like it's a bit smudged in the middle of here. And she hands you guys the map. Everything seem clear?
Well, what's her name again?
So this is the lady with the blonde hair in pink. This is Louise.
Miss Louise.
Yes.
Is assuming that this thing's a warg, about 250 bison.
Byzant, yeah.
Byzant. It sounds pretty reasonable, but what if it's a bit bigger? What if it's a bit tougher?
I'm sure a party like yours can handle anything like that.
Yes, but we need to make sure we're going to be compensated appropriately for the creature.
Why don't you make me, first roll of the game, you can make me a business or persuasion roll.
You should have asked me to do it.
I told
you
you,
should-
if you let Nug talk, he'll talk, but he's bad at it.
I love that dynamic.
Also,
I'll probably go with persuasion because it's one higher than my business.
If it doesn't work out, maybe I'll try to attack it as a business thing.
I do the number first. That is 9 plus 7 for 16.
16?
Yes.
All right. So just for clarity here, the way this game works is everything you roll to do is a skill. Just like in D&D, Pathfinder, even Forbidden Lands, you have your, what they would call ability scores and then your skills. In this game, they're called statistics, is like your abilities, and there's a fair bit more of them than a normal game. You have intelligence, reflex, dexterity. Those two are separate. Body, speed, empathy, crafting, will, and luck. And then there's a lot of skills, like more than I can name. So for
Oh, but the big difference between this and a lot of the other games is whenever you roll it, like I rolled persuasion. I have 0 persuasion
Yes.
and 7 empathy, which is what persuasion falls under. So it's my 9 on the die plus 7 empathy plus 0 persuasion for a total of 16. So you add your statistic and your skill to it,
yes.
to your D10 roll.
Yep, and you roll a D10 much like you would in roll a D20 in a Pathfinder or D&D kind of game. And then every roll you're going to make is either going to be against like a DC. Oftentimes those rolls are going to be opposed. So instead of rolling against like this is a DC 15 persuasion, I have to roll against you like if we're negotiating like this. So I'm going to roll Luis's, and I got a 1 on the D10. Again.
I am the luckiest.
So obviously you're going to make this, but point of order, when you roll a 1 in this game on any D10 like skill roll, there's not necessarily a fumble always associated with that, but you roll again. So I'm going to roll again now, and oh god, I got another 1, but that doesn't matter. It's only the 10s.
Oh yeah,
that
it's only
explode.
a -1.
So she's just enthralled by your homey cuteness.
So I got another 1, and that means so I add 1 plus my, I think it's will, which is 8, so that's 9, and my resist coercion, I think is what it is.
Probably. That would be will plus resist coercion -1 because you got a 1 and then rolled a 1 again.
So I rolled a 1. My will is 8. That's the statistic for resist coercion, and then my resist coercion skill is 7, so that's 15, minus the 1 I rolled on my second roll, which is 14. So if I rolled a 1 and then I roll again and I got like a 10,
it's -10.
It would be
but
minus
you roll
10
again because you got a 10.
because the 10 explodes. And this works the same way for criticals. If you rolled a 10, that would be, 10 plus your statistic plus your skill.
Yep.
And then you would roll another die and you would add whatever that is and then re-roll on the 10. So
basically, criticals are much more beneficial than fumbles are punishing.
Right.
Because with a critical, you get that 10 plus whatever you roll next. With the 1, you only get minus what you roll next.
And because this is a D10, you basically have a 20% chance to either critical or fumble.
Yeah.
Because 2 of the numbers on the D10 will do that.
Yeah, to your listeners who are used to Pathfinder, it is literally a double chance to fail as it is to critically succeed.
Yeah. But you can also roll a 1 and then roll again, and with your subtraction, still pass.
Yeah.
It's totally possible. But yeah, so
That's a 14.
14.
Against my 16.
So she says, all right, I'll throw in an extra 15 Byzant. How's that? That's an extra 30 crowns.
I think that sounds good.
That'll be 230, I think.
He'll
total.
hold out his hand. We shake on it.
She stoops down a little bit and shakes your hand, and then she says, all right, well, I must be back to party planning business. If you want to talk to the boy, he's in the basement. What do you guys do?
Should we talk to the boy?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
All right.
I will start heading down.
All right, so you go to the back of the building where there's this big staircase. There's one going up and there's one going down. You go to the basement, and as you come around to the back of the basement, you go and you see like there's a lot of storage stuff here. You can smell some like of the food being stored down here, but you hear the snoring coming from around like one of the corners down here.
Child.
And you come around and you see there's this young man, really like a teenager with short blonde hair, asleep with like crumbs on his face on this like stack of mattresses. What do you do?
Don't wake the poor boy.
We are only going to ask him some questions. I do not see the harm in letting him go back to sleep afterwards.
Oh, all right.
Excuse me, young man?
You don't have to wake too fast if you don't want to.
Here is some artwork for him. But he starts up, a little bit of drool coming down one side of his face. He's got crumbs all over him.
He looks so cool in that picture, and you're making him sound so not cool.
He looks like his name is Tyler.
He looks like he belongs in a boy band.
Now, this doesn't mean anything to any of you, but he looks like your rival from Final Fantasy VIII, Cypher or something.
Huh. You're right. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing at all.
He just looks cool.
He said, I haven't seen you lot around here. Did Louise send you?
Yes.
Oh, pardon me. You're an elven person. Pointy ears and all. I've never seen one of your type.
Blunt. I like him.
And he looks at you. It's like, hello, Sir Dwarf, and you. Can I help you?
Yes.
We were told that you had a map leading down to the area where the warg might be.
Yea, I do. It be no warg though. A monster came out from under the ice during the first shift and killed the carboys. We hired for this season. Father says it dragged him under the ice. I didn't see it so well, but it weren't no warg. Madam Elf, I tell you. Father sent me to get help, but it definitely be no wolf like this woman Louise thinks. A wolf won't swim in the cold unless it's necessary, and they'd never hunt alone. I would ne'er venture to the lake if I were ye.
And what was your name again?
Me name be Olgar. I come from the village on the shore of Lake Tankard. Whithost be the name. Are you tasked to go find this beast and slay it?
That
We
is
are.
correct.
Oh, take great care when going on the lake. It can jump up and bite a man and swallow him all in one gulp, I tell you.
Oh, he's large.
Indeed. No warg, no wolf.
Is he a man tall? 2 man tall?
I did not get a good look at him, Sir Dwarf.
Hey.
Were you able to see the size of the hole that it left in the ice when it jumped up?
Nay, Madam Elf. He came through one of the ice cutting holes, so I could not get a good appraise on it. And I did run away quite fast.
And that was probably a very good idea. You are a smart young man. About how large were the holes that you cut in the ice?
Oh, they can be quite large, miss. We can cut them up to 2 men in length, if not even 3.
Well, we have our maximum size at least.
Was the creature longer than it was tall?
Was it about the size of a bread box?
It seemed about. You
I
stopped
love how that
game with
question
20 questions.
actually fits in here. They would have a literal bread box.
I'm going to make this kid racist against elves.
Oh my god.
I was like, I could persuade the kid because he's also human, but I have nothing to persuade him with.
I do not know. I have no knowledge of it, sir, madam. If you do go back to the village, could you tell me your father, Yongar? Tell me I'm okay.
Oh, I'll says hi to your folks for you.
Thank you, miss.
Could you say his name again, please?
Yongar. 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 And this kid's name is Olgar. Olgar.
I had it as ORAG.
Olgar? Me name's Olgar. I'm young, so I still have me teeth and can pronounce things.
Now, Olga,
Yes?
could we be borrowing that map of yours?
No, she already handed you the map.
Okay.
Whenever I asked earlier.
Yeah, she handed
Yeah.
the map directly to you guys. You will notice that it's a little smudged in the middle. So
That was the next thing.
yeah.
Tell me about this smudge here.
Oh, that
if
must.
it's not too much trouble.
Yeah, it'd be no trouble. It must have happened on the way over. It's how I find this place. I can fix it for you. I think it got damped in the snow and smudged the ink. Do you have a pen?
Go right ahead.
I have a writing kit.
He takes your writing kit and he fixes the map for you. So you have a pretty good idea of how to get to this village from here.
Oh, thank you, young man.
Hey, no problem.
What's
got
the
the map
craftsmanship
fixed.
like?
So what?
What's the craftsmanship like?
On the map?
Yeah.
It's pretty crude, but it gives you an idea of how to get there. You would know that it's probably going to take you a day, and you have like 7 days to get this done, get the ice shipped. So it's going to take you a day to get there.
So we have 7 days to kill the monster or to get the ice here.
Get the ice there.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so about
We have 5 days to
5
kill
days.
the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 6 days, including a day of travel.
No, that's 2 days of travel to get there
Yeah,
and back.
There and back.
We
Yeah.
only have 5 days to take care of our
Yes,
tasks.
yes.
That gives Inef plenty of time to go ice fishing while she's there.
Hrothnug is going to go upstairs and he'll find the closest sorceress.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a library here with a bestiary or some sort of monster tome?
So you go up to Katrin, which is the lady with like the leather jacket, and she says, "Oh yes, we do have a bit of a book collection for the society. You need information on monsters, because they weren't there when Louis talked to you."
Oh, yes, that would be quite helpful. Viver, could you come over here?
I'm intelligent too.
And Ines.
I'm also intelligent.
Listen, in this group, my monster lore is unmatched. But
Of course it is.
Of course, but I am not much one for the book learning in such a way as will help out here. I'd have to take the book with us to go, and I get a feeling that this lot's probably protective of their knowledge. So I don't know how many monster tomes they have, but it might be useful to learn a thing or two.
I mean, perhaps if I were to ask.
They said they had a library, so yeah.
Could I ask one of the sorceresses if I could check out one of the books or borrow one for an extended period?
It wouldn't take too long to read a section about wargs, would it?
This isn't a warg. We would be checking against.
Ice is most likely some kind of ice drake that's been living under a lake for... Oh, that went bad. This is more likely...
If you had the chance to change your
some
fate.
kind of ice drake that's been living under the lake for, I don't know, a century or two. They can live forever if no one kills them.
But between me and Viv here, I think we could find it.
So you ask about books, and Katrine says, "Well, I don't know if I could let you, walk out into the wilderness with some of our books because they are quite precious. But feel free. There's actually like some bookshelves in the main room. There's not a lot of books on them. They're more like showpieces than anything. You get a sense that there's if the collection is being built and anything that's important isn't on display." But she says, if there's anything here, I mean, by all means, help yourselves. My understanding is there's just some sort of warg thing. And if you look over the books, there is a book called like About Dragons. And there's some other books, some more like magically oriented monsters. You're in the north part of the continent where Kovir and Poviss are. The mountain ridge that kind of borders the top of the world is called the Dragon Mountains. Yeah. This is actually, I think, a place referenced in the short story in the beginning of Sword of Destiny. But yeah, not this place directly, but the Dragon Mountains are.
So you're convinced this isn't what they think it is?
Well, I mean, it's like
that's
we
what
said.
a witness says.
Hey, wargs are like just big wolves, So I'm thinking it's some kind of actual dragon or a creature made of ice summoned from something that ate these people taking ice from the lake, or, something obvious like that.
Do you want to open that book at all, look around in it?
Oh, yeah.
You don't want Nug to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if Nug guides us on where to go.
I'm telling you.
No, I meant like you have monster lore, right?
No.
Oh, so
I do.
You have
Remember,
the bravado
Nug
of it.
thinks he knows a lot more than he knows.
I gotcha.
I have monster
And
lore.
if you've traveled with Nug, you know this about Nug.
I
So-
gotcha.
You open up the book and you thumb through it. The book, kind of in brief, says, dragons were once commonplace, the rule over the continent absolute. Dragonfire was the bane of cities, and dragon appetites were a constant threat to the colonizers. Mages stood against these creatures. Witchers were created to fight them. Today, dragons are nearly extinct. There are the occasional sightings of forktails and slyzards, but these creatures are to dragons as stray cats are to tigers. Dragons were brought to the brink of extinction by professional hunters like the famed Crinfid Reavers. Alchemy ingredients from a dragon's body are among the most expensive and highly sought after by mages. The beast's roasted tail is considered a true delicacy. Basically, it's kind of an overview about like the history of dragons. Make a monster lore check, Viverwin, as you look at this tome.
Like I got 0 in monster lore.
I have, just so you know, 0 in all things intelligence except
20.
for 1 in wilderness survival and 1 in business.
With a 20, I'll tell you that you are fairly certain This is nothing like a dragon. If it were a dragon, you would probably not have the boy to talk to. And also, you don't know why a dragon would live under a frozen lake.
So like I was saying, I know the book probably is agreeing with me that some kind of dragon or a reptilian beastie maybe descended from the dragons.
I think it's just going to be a big fish. This is drow. It's like some sort of big fish beast. Like if we're going to be talking about the Netflix one, the one that swallows up Geralt.
Yeah, in that one episode, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's all manner
He's
of
dead.
underwater beasts.
He's fine.
Does he cut his way out from the inside?
Oh, if it's a
That
fish,
sounds
I'll
right.
just smoke it, you know.
Sounds right.
Oh, smoked fish. Oop.
Oh,
Oop. So what do you guys want to do? You're not really sure what this is. It's going to take you a day to get to the village. And you do have a map.
We could go ahead and go to the village and see if others have encountered this creature and we could get more information.
Right.
We should try to talk to Yongar too.
Yeah.
I have to say hi to his folks.
that's right.
All right. So you guys,
let's go then.
you set out and you start out on the trail.
Of course, switching back to my boots instead of the fancy
Before we
slippers.
set out on the trail, Hrothnog will pull out his crossbow, put a bolt in it, load it, and then put it back on his back. Just so I can state that this has been done.
Oh, but careful.
Oh, it's all right. They're made for that.
Do you have the safety turned on that thing?
What's the safety?
That is what I thought.
You set out on the trail.
I got two safeties right here.
It's probably about midday.
Jacob is wiggling his pointer fingers.
Huh, visual gag on a podcast.
It's probably like late afternoon actually when you set out. And so you make your way. You go down the trail sort of the way you came, and then you start following the map. I need someone to make me a wilderness survival roll.
I have a +2. Can anyone beat me?
I have a total of 6.
I have a 10 with a +2. So I'll do the wilderness survival roll.
Okay.
Little known fact, INF spent some time in the wilderness as a
So
child.
wilderness survival, that's going to be, what statistic is that?
Intelligence.
Intelligence plus my wilderness survival plus whatever I roll.
And in
All
The
right.
Witcher, there is no help action, is there?
I don't think so. I haven't
think
been able
so.
to find it in the book.
Oh, crud. I rolled a 2 plus 10 is 12 plus 2 is 14.
14. Unfortunately, you follow the map as best you can, but you are lost.
Does the
Of
map
course.
not like give us a bonus or anything?
It does.
Oh.
You still didn't meet it.
Oh,
I
no.
rolled a 2, okay?
What I would not give to have a witcher at my hip. Information tracking that bitch Yennefer so lucky.
Later. Yeah, I see you're in need of a witcher. I might not be a witcher, but I am quite capable myself.
What is your wilderness survival there, Nugs?
1. His intelligence is 5.
Oh, I seem
you
to have
want-
gotten us
Do you
lost.
want me to try?
Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
You kind of lose your way. You know the general direction, but like you would maybe come around and you realize you've gone in a circle once.
It's all this snow.
And the day is going on, and the snow starts coming down harder and harder. And before you know it, you're in a blizzard,
Oh, dear.
and you can't find your way. Why don't I take us to the map?
Later. The snow never bothered me anyway.
Oh, you.
No, that's for me, okay?
Oh, frozen.
So why don't you place yourselves on the map here?
You know what you need to do?
First roll of the game, and I just got us
You
lost.
need to let it
Go.
go.
All right, so you find yourself on this snowy trail. The wind is coming down hard with a lot of snow. You're in snowy conditions, which are going to affect a bunch of different things. But more importantly, you hear howling. And at first, you think it's just the wind just screeching at you. But then you hear it more clearly when the wind has a brief lull. There are wolves on your trail. What do you do?
Draw my sword.
I draw my weapon and my shield.
I want to climb a tree.
You want to climb a tree?
Yeah.
There are trees here. Some snow-covered pine trees.
Do you have to roll to climb a tree? Is it physical?
Athletics, I'm guessing.
Probably athletics.
It could be physique.
Why don't you make me a
Could be physique.
athletics or a climb check?
Do we have
If you
climb?
win. Excuse me, athletics or a physique check.
Where
Sorry.
is athletics?
Athletics is
Is
under
dexterity.
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 There's two different ways to climb a tree. There's the nimble way, and then there's the brute strength. way.
15.
15.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say you can get up a tree with that. You get, and this is snow covered, so like the snow comes and falls off of it as you go up. You
Do I
will
see
have
anything?
to keep a hand holding the tree, but you can get up about 10 feet, maybe 12 feet. You don't see anything directly because of the blizzard. You gonna stay up in the tree?
For now, I want to try and see if I can spot things as they're getting closer.
If we're going by the rules, it would be athletics. It would not be physique.
Okay.
'Cause I
Would
like-
you
I
also
just
like to
turned
climb
to
a
the
tree?
skills.
Nug.
Uh,
I mean,
it
you don't
sounds
got
like.
to.
Does it sound like more than one wolf?
Oh yeah, and they're getting closer.
Nug will try her to climb
I
a
guess
tree.
I'm climbing a tree too. If everybody's going to be up there and I'm going to be alone, I'm climbing.
So that is a 4 plus 7 for Nug.
Okay.
And Nug rolled 8 plus 4 plus 7 is 19.
So you had a 4 in a 4 in dexterity, or
Athletics, and then an 8, but it's reduced to 7 for armor stuff and dex.
okay.
And I rolled an 8.
So what's that total?
19.
19. You have an easier time of it getting up, despite your stout but short stature.
All right, and I too am going to climb a tree. Ah, finally a good roll. I got an 8 plus my rank of 3, which is 11, plus my skill, which has been decreased to 5 due to armor. So I got a 16.
All right. You also get up.
In the tree, Nug will put his sword away, or he probably put his sword away to climb. He will sit there and pull out his crossbow.
All right.
I don't have a distance weapon.
Ooh, that's not very good planning right there.
I needed more money.
You know, I told you whenever we were in the last town, I could lend you some money, but no. Nobody ever takes up everyone whenever she offers money. It's because I'm an elf, isn't it?
Don't want to trouble you.
Well, I have to say, it is kind of troubling now that you don't have a distance weapon.
Okay. So you wait a few minutes. The howling gets louder and louder. And then you see a pack of wolves run up,
He got a red eye.
Led by a warg.
by a larger wolf with one eye that's like milky white and one that's glowing red. They howl, and the warg takes a running leap at Nug.
Nug is.
I rolled for it. He scrambles up the tree and goes to bite at Nug. And that's where we'll pick up next episode.
No.
You are the least choicest Nug.
That's a fair assessment, Derek.
Not my boy, my baby boy.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Third Gallon Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing us. If you want to see more from us, check out our website, thirdgallon.com, or follow us on Twitter. We are at Third Gallon, that's THIRD Gallon. You can also tweet at us using the hashtag Third Gallon, and we are on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook with the same handle, at Third Gallon. We also publish a video version of this podcast on YouTube, which you can find on our channel, The Third Gallon. Our ambience for this episode was composed by Michael Ghelfi, and you can find more of his work at youtube.com/Michael Ghelfi Music, and you can support his awesome work at patreon.com/Michael Ghelfi. Our theme music for this season was composed by Alexander Nakarada. You can find more of his work at serpentsoundstudios.com and support him at patreon.com/A Nakarada. That's patreon.com/ANAKARADA. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.